returning back to the podcast, possibly everyone's favorite guest and a guy that many people call one of the best podcasters in the world today. The brilliant, the smart, the funny Glenn Gilberti. Disco, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. And just the thing I'd love to ask you about is one of the things you're infamous for is the fact that since the 90s, you've stayed in amazing condition and you really could pass for...
That's not infamous. It's famous for, not infamous for.
Well, that's racism. Well, one of the things that you're well known for, I should say, is you've stayed in amazing condition and you really could pass for somebody in the 30s. Just a couple of months ago, the pop singer Adele, it was revealed that she'd lost over 100 pounds. This infuriated her fan base and caused a whole load of fucking backlash against her. So what was your take as someone who works out a lot, the response to the backlash to health?
Because the fat people are, our country especially, and one of the reasons that we have so many deaths from the coronavirus is we're one of the top countries in the planet for like obesity, all the underlying conditions and stuff. We're just not a healthy country. I mean, it's like, so, I mean, it'd be a miracle if we didn't have the most deaths from coronavirus because of all the people that are overweight and stuff. And like, bro, body positivity when your look is not healthy does not make a lot of sense to me.
But the thing that fucking drives me insane is...
Are you trying to be funny with the thing in the background? This isn't funny at all. It's not. It's a failed attempt at humor.
I'll take it down. Don't worry. It sickens me. But the thing that bothers me is that if you look at this singer called Lizzo, who I've heard you want to bang, she fucking is...
Who?
Lizzo.
Lizzo?
Yeah, big fat bitch.
Who is that? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, well, you banged her and you want to bang her. She's dangerously out of shape and heavy and fat. And she's been celebrated. And it's like, no, you don't want to do that with kids because they're going to see that stuff. And some fucking 12-year-old's going to have a heart attack.
Well, especially now, when obesity is one of the underlying conditions for coronavirus.
It's
terrible. How idiotic is that? It's like, I mean, everybody should be dieting. Let's say, for instance, there is no vaccine that works. If we're stuck with living with this, everybody's got to start getting healthy and get a better immune system. You do that by dieting and exercise, not by eating Big Macs and French fries and pizzas.
Do you think you'll go back, though, to snorting coke off strippers' bare bottoms?
I didn't do that, and it's a slanderous remark. I'm going to have to call the authorities on you if you try to make it sound like say I was involved in illegal activity.
Yeah, I meant to say speed anyway. But another sports thing I'd love to ask you about is it's been confirmed that at some point next year we're finally getting Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. What is the Disco?
Well, we sure? I mean, what happens if he loses to Wilder?
I don't see that.
Yeah, I mean, if he beats Wilder, what if he does? Wilder's just a knockout artist. He could he knocked him down the first fight too. He could catch him with one. So that's not etched in stone. But I think but it would be great. I mean, I'm hoping that Fury beats him so we have a super fight. Yeah, but Joshua's kind of a bum. I think Fury will kill Joshua.
You think Anthony Joshua's a bum?
I mean, he's really not. He got kind of exposed in the first fight with the kid that knocked him out. He doesn't fight. He's not the type of guy that'll get in a war or not do well in a war. So I don't know.
But did you see his fight against?
I saw all of his fights. Yes.
Yeah, but so did I.
He got beat out. He got knocked out by a bum. Okay, and then he fought the bum again when the bum wasn't even training because he was rich and everything. So it was just I don't think that's a competitive fight, to be honest with you.
I think Anthony Joshua is going to kick the shit out of Tyson Fury, and I support him because it shows how woke I am that I support an African American. What are the chances that an Italian wouldn't support a black guy in boxing?
The what?
An Italian wouldn't support.
I support black boxers all the time.
Mm-hmm. Are you wearing them?
The what?
Are you wearing them?
No.
What? No underwear at all?
Am I what? No, you're being silly now.
I was speaking of being silly. One of the other questions I've got for you, Marty Jannetty seems to have had a real stupid fucking Facebook post. It's kind of blown up in his face. I don't think he killed anybody. I just think he's an idiot. But the thing is, he seems to be one of these guys who the party started in the 80s and it never really stopped. So, of course, in 98, he got a run in WCW. Question for you is, what's your take on this Marty Jannetty shit? And do you have any experiences of working with him in WCW?
No, not really. But I'll tell you this, he's full of shit. I mean, I doubt he killed anybody. That's ridiculous. His story just doesn't really make a lot of sense, you know. He hit a guy with a brick at 13 years old. He threw him in the river. Get out. I mean, come on. It's like, I can't believe a lot of people are like acting like it was a serious story.
Yeah, but the thing is, they'd rather talk about this.
They're not going to find anything. Nothing's going to happen with this. They're not going to find some story of some missing person. It's bullshit.
The thing is, but that guy, like a friend of mine, well, I'm not naming names.
It's bullshit.
But
the story is complete. The story is not. If you're sitting there listening to a Marty Jannetty who's had substance abuse problems for the better part of however many years, rambling on about some nonsense, and everybody's taking like all the marks are, and the dirt sheet people acting like it's news. It's like it's completely lacking common sense.
Yes, though I do have a friend, Scott, who Marty Jannetty asked him if he could get him any coke.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Well, I just said the guy's got substance abuse. I mean, this is kind of like, you know, I heard it's just Starcade or whatever it was, the WrestleCade. He was passed out on one of the things. I mean, you know, the guy's got issues.
Sounds like he'd be good to have fun at this year's Keeping It 100 Christmas party.
Nope.
Yes. Just as a final one I've got for you before we get on to the debate.
These are actual questions that you wrote down to ask me?
Vague ones. Chris Jericho's getting hate at the minute because Fozzy played a gig at a bar or whatever. It was completely packed. There was no, what do you call them, protocols and shit going on. So, I heard
it was not completely packed.
Well,
50%. If they're following all the legal protocols, I see absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, but for Fozzy, that was a packed crowd.
They followed. The only people complaining are the people that like to complain. If they follow, there's actually protocols and there's actually guidelines, and some states are less than others because they don't have as many cases. So if they follow the protocols for that town, it's like there's literally nothing wrong with that, other than he's not buying the narrative of like, oh my God, everybody's going to die. So I see no problem with it.
Still, would you confirm the rumor that you hope that he passes COVID on to Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes?
I'm not going to answer some silly questions like that.
Okay, well, I'll dub it in. I'll do the voiceover impression. But the real reason why the great Disco Inferno here to join us is because he's going to lower his hatred for Irish people for just a couple of minutes. We're going to debate one of the legendary... Well,
I don't hate Irish people.
Just one?
No, I don't hate anybody. I like Connor.
You not even me?
I mean, you're kind of, you know... I mean, I wouldn't, you know... I mean, we wouldn't be making buddy cop movies together, you know?
Yes, we will. We'll make sleepers too. But the question, we're here to debate the top 5 of U2. So the radical question I've got for you, Disco, is what is your level of U2 fandom?
I grew up with them. I mean, there was a period of time when they were when iPads, when those little iPad things you could listen to I download a lot of YouTube songs were downloaded. My first one. I just been a big fan, you know. Come on, I'm 52 years old. I grew up with U2.
You probably look 34. How many times have you seen them live?
Never seen them live. Oh no, I did see them live one time at Georgia Dome, but it's terrible because it was the first. I think it was the first concert at the Georgia Dome. And they had I think it might have been the very first concert at the Georgia Dome, and the sound was set up very poorly because it echoed, so it was like the sound was atrocious.
Can you remember what year it was?
Everybody had seats around. It was a big giant dome, and everybody had to kind of like squeeze and like up on had to move forward so they could listen to the music. So it wasn't a very good experience, but the show was cool.
Do you think that U2, particularly Bono, need to drop this whole social justice shit? Because what
are you talking about? They've always been political.
Yeah, but
I don't mind. I don't mind these bands that, you know, have always had messages in their songs. But you know, I mean, been political. It's the ones that like, you know, are doing it just for the sake of doing it. I mean, you can't really knock, you know, YouTube for being political. They've always been political.
yeah, but I mean, it's like if you go out for like the Christmas party at work, you don't want to have someone sit down and go, "Oh, what about those reports, hey, Glenn?"
Are you trying to say that U2, okay, that their political narratives in their songs are I mean, what is it? Has it been a negative in their careers? Like, is it, bro? They're like one of the highest grossing bands in the history of music.
Yeah,
I mean, it's obviously worked, and nobody really cared about their political message. I mean, they sold a ton of records.
Yeah, but they could be bigger if they would just keep the like.
Bigger?
Who the Bono
How
is?
Much bigger can they be?
Oh, 2 nights at the Georgia Dome.
They're huge. They're already. They're not. They can't be big. They're in the conversation with the greatest of all time.
Listen,
they're in the conversation.
They talk about AIDS too much, and Bono is an AIDS mark. That's the problem.
Okay.
Right.
Well, he's trying to, like, you know, through his music, trying to help cure AIDS.
Well,
you know, I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that.
Then how about making more condoms? But what we're here today, what we're here to do today is with the great Disco Inferno. But when it comes to U2, he's called Disco Inferno.
Do you want me to start off with number 5?
Right. So we start with 5. You tell me why you like it. I yell at you. 5 back. Then you yell at me. Okay. And it's a gay old.
I'm gonna have. Okay, I'll tell you right now. To preface this, I have 2 outside the box. No, they're not really outside the box, but they're probably like 2 songs. My number 5 and number 4 are songs that people would, U2 fans and U2 diehards and U2 traditional U2 fans would probably say there's no way those 2 are top 5, but they're my top 5. 2 of my top 5 because I'm always a contrarian. Song number 1 was a no-brainer. Okay, and I imagine every U2 fan would probably have the same number 1. But 2 and 3 were a mixture of 3 songs, and I chose 2 of them. So that's my thing. I have my 2 outside the box selections.
Well, I'm going to predict them.
2 of my 3 hardcore songs, and the number 1, which is obvious, it should be the number 1. You know.
Well, my list is probably going to be more contrarian than yours, whatever the fuck that means, because
you're going to come up with some. You're going to come up with like some of the shittier ones and like try to act like they're good. Like these are popular and like they're not. I can see what you're going to do already.
No, I'm going to come up with the manly ones. It's going to scare the shit out of you because you'll feel like that penis of yours was wasted. But anyway, no better time than now. Discotheque Inferno. What have you got in there at number 5?
Discotheque.
For real?
Had to put it in there. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was funny because like when they made the song, everybody was like, "Oh my God, what is U2 doing, bro?" It's a great song.
Brilliant.
And if you notice the theme of my U2, I'll just tell everybody right now, I'm not a fan like of all the older like the U2 slower songs. I like the songs that kick and have oomph and punching and go like work like U2 has good workout music. You know, so man, that's a theme of my YouTube top 5 here will be that like they kind of all follow the same pattern. But I like Discotheque. I love it. I think it's a great song. I think I could actually come out to Discotheque if I actually was doing a reinvention of myself in professional wrestling.
Yeah, actually,
it'd be good re-music.
Yeah, it would work.
It'd be good re-music.
But the thing about I'm glad you picked that one because I love that song. It's also Pop is my favorite U2 album. But the problem is, because it didn't do so great, I think it scared you too, and they kind of went very generic afterwards.
I don't know what do you think that song scared them?
No, I think the fact that album wasn't a huge hit, that it made them think, "Oh bollocks, we have to go normal."
Well, just they went pop, which kind of like upset their fans, and it's to enough where they thought they were selling out. You know, which is why I like the song because I mean to me it's music. I mean, people look into these narratives and these issues too much. They had a bunch of songs they liked. They went more of a pop theme to try and sell more records, and it didn't work.
Well, that's a very good.
But that song is still good.
It's fucking brilliant, and it's a very good pick. And I agree with your take on it. And to show my complete hypocrisy, I'm going to number 5, In God's Country from the Joshua Tree.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing about the Joshua Tree is it was very good at the time, but I'm fucking sick to death of Streets of No Name and Bullet the Blue Sky and With or Without You Can Fuck Off. And I don't, and well, still might find what I'm looking for is good. But this one is one that they don't fucking play hardly ever. I went to see them at Croke Park Stadium a couple of years ago. Thank you very much. It was the Joshua Tree 30th anniversary. Was off my mind on, Bizzles or whatever. This song blew my fucking head off. What's your take on In God's Country there, Glenster?
Type of song you'd play at a religious gathering, Christian music.
Well, to be honest,
you could cross over into Christian music.
It could, because it's funny you say that, because when I walked into that stadium with my height and my thick build, people went, Jesus Christ!
Do you want me? I'm not going to respond to that. Do you just want to go to the next one?
What did you get in there at number 4?
By the way, while we're watching today, we're recording this. The PGA Championship is getting. My guys are getting ready to tee off. I got a guy that's in like 4-stroke spec that's 300-1. Siwoo Kim. I got Brooks Koepka too. So if you watch golf today, be rooting for my players. So
I don't. And I won't.
You want ready for? Are you ready for number 4?
I can't wait.
Another one that got a lot of heat from them, like for going to think Vertigo. Like I said, my first 2 selections are probably in, like, you won't find anybody else with a YouTube top 5 list that probably has these 2 songs in the list. But I just like the way, like, it was funny, like, they went kind of more, they kind of got out of their echo chamber with the type of music they were making. They kind of went towards more like pop rock, and I mean, and it's a good song. So,
would you like to know a little bit of trivia about that song?
Sure, why not?
It was originally they had written that, I don't know the correct pronunciation, for Spider-Man 2. Mm-hmm. And it didn't get used, and Bono says, fuck it, we're going to keep it. And he's such a Spider-Man mark, so he's a mark for AIDS and Spider-Man, that they ended up doing that Spider-Man musical years later.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's it?
That's the trivia. Well, that trivia was unforgettable. But in at number 4, I'm going with Unforgettable Fire. Did you ever have a big mullet growing up in the 80s, Disco?
No, just briefly. I have long hair briefly.
Well, this album, Unforgettable Fire, it's one that I've got into pretty late in life because I'm 24. It's a bit keyboard heavy at times, but it has some of the stuff like Bad on it. It's got a sort of Homecoming, Pride in the Name of Love, etc. But the title track is one that recently I've become extra gay for. Disco, what's your take on Unforgettable Fire?
Boring.
Really?
Yep.
I bet you haven't heard it.
I've heard them all.
Mm-hmm. Not live, though. What I'd like to know what you've heard
I did, but I could, but the sound was terrible. You go for your number 3 now, because we're going to change tunes here a little bit.
Why would we do that?
Because you do your 3 there, because I shouldn't have to go first every time.
Oh, I like it.
It's like home, and it's like a playoffs. It's like a playoff series. Two games at home, then we go to your place. So I'll do 3. You do the three first and 2 first, and then I'll do my number 1.
Well, I think I think that idea sucks. And at number 3, speaking of sucks, I'm going with Lemon from Zooropa. Do you like that song,
bro? You have these. I mean, you're picking. I knew this would happen. You're picking songs that would there's no way they're ranked ahead of these other songs. You won't find if you did like a Rotten Tomatoes on YouTube. It's like the songs you're picking would be like 25%. Like Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't need other people to do my thinking for me. I'm not one of these sheep.
Well, we'll just tell this. We'll tell people when this is over, play your 5 songs in a row, play my 5 songs in a row, and what would people who would think they had a better experience? And I would say the people who listen to my 5 songs have a better experience. My number 3 is "I Will Follow." I think you know what I think. I think "I Will Follow" might be the first U2 song I ever heard. Like the first one that I was like a big fan. The first one I used to play a lot and play it over and over.
Well, that is I think that was their first single.
Was it really?
Yeah,
might have been. It was great. Yeah. You know how
Boy.
like if you go like you're going by like Metallica.
Yeah.
Metallica in their later years came up with some incredible songs, but like old like "Seek and Destroy" was like the first song Metallica saw on the earth, but that's like still like would be in my top 5 list. And so that's why "I Will Follow" is like the first inclination to U2 and like that sound and that energy. That's the type of U2 that's like the consummate U2 song.
But the "I Will Follow" is it's more of a perfect example of how they sound live because they always amp it up.
Right.
Have you ever followed one of your stripper friends home and snorted stuff off her body?
No.
Good, because I was worried in case you were going to say that you did. In at number 2, I've got the unbelievable "Mysterious Ways."
Oh my God!
Well, fuck off! You don't like this
you're
song?
Like I mean seriously. Like if you know what.
I do not like to be interrupted.
Your list so far, like my list would be the type of songs you hear that like you go to a pub before the soccer game, and they're playing a lot of songs with energy and everything, and it's like your songs are the type they play in like an alternative lifestyle club, right? Yeah. It's like artsy and happy and like nobody's offended with anybody and just kind of like you get the sissy U2 songs.
I think you're getting a bit jealous of me here.
Like a little. No.
You couldn't go to the fucking.
I knew my list would be better than yours.
You couldn't go to the pub with me.
I guarantee you're Irish. You're Irish,
That's
and I
fake
guarantee
news.
your guest is going to say this is your list was a disgrace to Irish people. That my list was better than yours. You want to hear my number 2?
Wait a minute. Do you drink?
Yeah, I drink. But let me give you like my number 2. My number 2 is Gloria.
From October.
Mm-hmm.
And you would play this before a sports game, would you?
No, it was funny too, because I always debated what Gloria was better, the Doors' Gloria or U2's Gloria. And,
actually, Van Morrison's, but go ahead.
But I'm just saying the Doors and U2's Gloria were my 2 favorite Glorias, and I like the U2 Gloria better than the Doors' Gloria.
It is a good version, but of course Van Morrison also Irish, so basically. Us Irish keep writing the same songs with the same lyrics. Were you but back when you first started listening to U2, can you remember what age?
I mean, just as far back as I can remember. When did they start?
Early 80s. So, but was that still
10th grade or so?
Was that still vinyl or was that the CD?
Probably. I don't know. Vinyl. No. I think it was 8-track. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I do not know.
Well, Gloria is a very nice pick, and anyone who wants to hear the perfect version of it, check out the U2 live album, Live at Red Rocks. There's a version that'll blow your fucking head off. It is great. I'm taking control again, Disco, because that's the way it is. Tall people are the bosses. The strong ones always fucking get control. I want to know the number 1. What's Discotheque Inferno's number 1 U2 song pick of all time?
Pride in the Name of Love. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, like the thing is, like in the like any like greatest hits, it's the greatest songs of all time. It's like in the top whatever. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
So what's your favorite?
It's by far their best song, and it's by far one of the greatest songs of all time.
It's by far the laziest pick.
But it's I mean, you can't like sit there and like leave out the obvious just for the sake of being like, you're listening to top 5. That was this list, right? 5. Mm-hmm. So I'm giving the top 5, and the number 1 is a no-brainer. It's like if you're ranking the college football teams. If Alabama's 11-0 and they beat everybody, it's like their number 1. It's like you're not going to rank somebody ahead of them.
Well, with that reference goes over my head because I don't know what the fuck college football is.
All right. Well, who's your pick for number one?
No, I just want to say that is a generic lazy choice. I think
it's not a lazy choice. It's the obvious choice. Sometimes sometimes the laziest choice is the obvious choice.
No, sometimes the laziest choice is the laziest choice. At number one, this 6'2", 240-pound Adonis is going with Heartland from the album Rattle and Hum. Well, what's wrong with Heartland?
I mean, you're just leaving out a lot of obvious, Desire is a better song than Heartland. It's like I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, but it's also.
I knew your list would stink. Okay, and like you're trying to you try to go beta, like on me, like like outside the box, but your list stinks, and I guarantee you, like it's a disgrace. Right now, you've disgraced all your Irish brethren because they probably wondering if you are actually Irish. Maybe you're Scottish. Are you Scottish?
Fuck that. I actually do have an Irish brethren, and he's black. Did you know that?
Right. No, I did not.
Well, there you go. You can tell that to your stripper friends. Heartland is an amazing song, and ironically, it's one of the few U2 songs that they've never played live ever anywhere, which doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense because the song isn't good enough to play live, obviously. You picked a song that the band will readily admit does not even think it's good enough to play live. That's your number one, but that's your favorite U2 song.
I think that your pick was a bad pick because it's a lazy one. Like you be the type of guy who would go see fucking Queen and be saying, "Gee, I sure hope to play Bohemian Rhapsody tonight."
But I know they'll play Bohemian Rhapsody, and that's one of the reasons I go.
Yeah,
okay, well, nobody's going to go to a U2 concert, and they were sitting there hoping to hear Heartland, and they didn't. And like nobody walked out of the arena ever said, "I can't believe they didn't play Heartland. That was a terrible show." But if they walked out of the arena and said, "Hey, they didn't play Pride in the Name of Love," what the fuck? That's exactly what people would say.
I'd prefer them not to play that. I've heard it so many times.
Well, that's what they do. They play this. You've heard it so many times because a lot of people like it and people like to hear it.
Well, listen, Disco, despite our obvious chemistry and the fact that we get along so well, so obviously this was a good fight. I think clearly I won. But that's acceptable.
This was a bigger blowout than Wilder versus Fury for the fight too. you were Deontay Wilder. You brought in a crappy list, okay? And I think your list was really a troll. Like I think you gave me a fake list because like there's no way that you could find like if everybody says like is this like yes or no, is this the best list of U2 songs? You would 100% would say no, like literally 100%.
The thing,
I think it's funny that you made a song number one that they didn't even think is good enough to play live. The band doesn't even think it's like the band thinks it's like the 200th ranked song they have. They don't even play it live.
Yes, but that's the problem is I'm the bad boy of U2 lists. You never know what I'm going to come off with because I'm just a wild man. Whereas you're fucking like. Hi, Mr. Bono. Hello, The Edge.
And do you realize when you're doing this with the green, the thing behind you, your earplugs keep going in and out and stuff and everything, all that. Like the video on this is atrocious.
Don't you worry about that. People are going to be looking at you anyway.
Well, they can't see me with your head in the way, so.
No, I mean looking at you on your side.
Yeah, but that's what they would traditionally want. They would want you like lean over like that so they can see me.
Yeah, well, But listen, Disco, I just want to say that despite the bumps and bruises, I love recording with you. You actually, I think you genuinely are one of the top podcasters in the world. I also think that you have AIDS. But I want to thank you for doing this. And I hope to hear you again soon on the Conan and Hughezy show.
No, that show does not exist. You'll never be on that show. I'm like, you actually could have, like, you had an opportunity here to be professional instead of trying to be funny, and Conan may have listened to it and done your show, but there's no way now. You can actually catch me on Twitter at The Real Disco, at Disco Master GG on Instagram and Snapchat. Keeping 100 Conan drops on the MLW Radio, part of the. We're also friendly to the Creative Control Network. And also you catch me a Russo show on the brand, on Russo brand Fridays, Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Disco. and on his Patreon we do a show called Timeout. That's all. That's all you got for me. That's me.
Yeah, Conan's going to hear this list and he's going to respect the fact that it's different and unique. But
he's going to kazoo every single choice of yours without a doubt.
Well, that's not making the YouTube.
If we play any of this, if even allows us to play any of this on his show,
he likes the fact that is he a U2 fan?
I'm sure he is.
Jesus, I can't picture him doing that. But anyway, Disco.
That's very racist.
Well, it's two white guys talking. Anyway, Disco, listen, I want to thank you so much for recording with me. I want you to go and enjoy your golf and don't be afraid of big boys.
Don't be afraid of what?
You heard what I said.
Don't be afraid. I couldn't understand a word you said. Don't be afraid of what?
Big boys.
Don't be afraid of big boys. What does that mean?
You know, the places you go.
You're just a massive kazoo. All right, well, thank you. Thank you for having me on this wonderful podcast and embarrassing yourself as usual in front of all your Irish fans. Actually, I think your Irish fans might be wanting to maybe like, what do you call when you kick somebody out of the country? Deport you. Might want to deport you for your list, you know?
Well, I don't know. I think I'll be celebrated and people will go, well done, Adam. You really are a fan. You're not a generic greatest hits fan like fucking Max Moon's sidekick.
Yeah, but if you walked into a party and said, "Hey guys, you want to hear my YouTube top 5 list?" and we go, "No, stop, no, get him out of here, get him out of." That'd be like you get kicked out of the party if they do that list.
Nobody's going to throw me out because who else are they going to get their cocaine from? But anyway, Disco, I want you to have a great day because I said so, and that's the only reason why.
All right, I'll have a nice day. Thanks.
Okay, have a good one.